What's up, everybody? We got to talk about this crypto pump that's happening right now. Does this mean we're going up, and away? Do we need to be like a little bit cautious? Is this a trap trying to catch those people to go long only to reverse back down? There are some signs in the chart. There are some signals in the data. We got to talk about everything going on. I want everybody to get involved right now. I see we got 11 people on the pre-room right now before we get started. Everybody's hit that like button. Let's talk about what's going on in this market because we got to stay prepared. We got to stay ahead of this trend. And I hope you're feeling good. Hope you're looking good. Hope your charts are doing you service right now because you broke them down. So let's get this going. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Before we jump into anything, we got to look at this chart because, man, this Bitcoin chart, look at this. It's bounced right off this key line. We're going to talk about this key line. It's right at a very key kind of a decision point right now, so we need to watch out for what's going to happen here. Also, if we break out of this, we can see Ethereum's also making a little bit of a run at it. Avalanche is also pushing up. We got a bit of a sort of cup and handle here. Does this show a target that's going to be very profitable for us, or do we need to be concerned? Solana also pushing up. Everything coming into sort of key levels, and we got to talk about this. We got to talk about what's going on in this chart and all these charts so that we can stay ahead of the trend and not get caught in a trap. But we also want to have some exposure, right? Well, welcome to the show. My name is Kelly Kellum. If this is your first time, I can guarantee you it's not going to be your last time. And if you haven't yet, every single one of you, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We got some things we got to cover today. We got to talk about what's going on in the market because, man, this is feeling good. But is it too good to be true? That's what we need to be asking ourselves right now when we're talking about what is going on. Now, coming back over here to the Bitcoin chart, I just want to point something out here. I'm looking here. This is a 2-hour. This is a 4-hour. Let's get out to the daily. Let's get a wider view as to what's going on. I got a bunch of levels here. These are from last week. They're still here. The only thing I've adjusted is this 43,200 sort of level. And the only thing I did there, I didn't really adjust it. Essentially what I did was I had this marked a little bit lower over here, but basically I'm looking at on this trend line, key trend line. I'm just moving this up as time progresses and keeping this on that trend line because when we zoom out on this chart, why is this trend line important? Well, we have two that are coming into confluence right here with this diagonal right up into the zone, as well as this diagonal previous resistance and then support, and then now again resistance. Is it going to stay as resistance? Because we can see right here that there's a lot on the line right now if we're able to break through this level. So getting back down to this smaller time frame, looking at the 4-hour chart, we're coming right up on this level. I mean, we are just sitting against it right now. And we have some things that we're going to talk about that shows a little bit about what's going on and what it means. And is this a healthy move? You always have to ask yourself, is this a healthy move that I can believe in? Or is this a move that is essentially in the price action on the chart that's literally out there just to really stimulate your emotions so you make non-informed decisions? Because when you're acting on your emotions in these charts, in this market, that's when you end up donating your money to the game. So coming back over to the main screen, how's everybody doing? Let's get a roll call going right now. Where are you tuned in from? What city, what state, what country? What are you doing right now? Are you just focused here on crypto, on this channel, on what's going on in the market? Or are you out there do you have the phone in your pocket while you're at work, but you still want to stay informed? Are you driving down the road, taking your kids to school? Let us know what you're doing. Shout out to Maybe a Band-Aid. It says DGen, the like button. Thank you very much for that super chat. I always love it when we get super chats on here. It just feels good. It feels like people are engaged, and I appreciate you. And shout out to each and every one of you members. We also had that member stream that we did on Friday with Drew. We got another member stream coming up on Wednesday with Joshua Jake. And I'm going to try and also multi-stream that here on the YouTube. So get involved there. Now, again, we're going to talk about everything that's going on in these charts, but there's some other things we have to talk about on the broader picture about what's going on. So don't worry. We're going to be doing some TA. We're going to be breaking down Bitcoin and some of our favorite altcoins here for you all. But we got to talk about some things. Before we do, make sure you come over here to Twitter and you give me a follow right here at Kelly Kellum, Kelly Kellam. Make sure you're following the correct person. Then, of course, at Academy BitLab, make sure you're giving a follow. Hit that retweet, hit that like, show some love. We got some things we want to talk about. I just want, before we even get into the price action and some of the news stories, look at this chart. And regardless of this saying Bitcoin is king being number one all the way along the way, I want you to pay attention to all of these down here in the 2 through 10. These are ranked by project size, by market cap. How much money is in each one of those ecosystems? And I just want you to notice back here in 2015, what number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 was. 2016, these all changed, all of these changed position with where they were. We have something else coming up in here. I believe this is either Bitcoin SV or Bitcoin. It's one of the split offs, the forks from Bitcoin. And then over here, we see these two stay the same, but now we have EOS in here and we have Stellar at number 6. And over here, this switches. We have Tether in here, Litecoin at number 6. And you're seeing my point here is there's a lot of moving around in the ecosystem of where the interest is lying in terms of capital flow in these different projects. And we look all the way over here into 2021, then we have Cardano shoots up in the mix to number 3, BNB coin up here at number 4, then Tether, and then XRP. And then over here, 2022, XRP drops down. We got, USDC up here, Tether up here, and all of these coins. Cardano, which used to be number 3, is all the way down here at number 8. The point here is this is one of those reasons why it's so important to have diversification, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about how many different things are out there. This is why it's good to have exposure across the board. But we got to talk about this because it looks like right now, Bitcoin is breaking through this key level that we were talking about. So the question right now is this a pump? Is this pump a trap? Or is this going to see some follow through? Is this a healthy pump is what I meant to say there. Because look at this. We did push up, break this level, come down, find support, push up. We got a new higher high right here in this region. Come down. We have a higher low and followed by this higher high, still riding on this level, this regional diagonal support level that has now been, confirmed. This was a little concerning because we had a little bit of a lower high here, but we still had a higher low in this region, and the price action sort of jumped up here, and we are breaching this level. If we get down, for instance, let's say on the 15 minutes, we are just breaking this level. So what we can expect is likely going to happen here in the near future, if it's not already happening, is these moves right here, are they characterized by forced buying, aka short sellers that are being forced closed, liquidations? And furthermore, once we get past this level, are there more liquidations that are going to make for a short squeeze, which would send price higher very quickly? Now, would that be the worst thing? No, it wouldn't be the worst thing. But if we get a short squeeze and it just rockets higher, I would be watching for where that buying pressure starts to wane and we potentially get a little bit of a pullback. So on this note right here, when we zoom back out over here and we look at the coin glass, and we can refresh this, see if the data is updated at all. This is coin glass liquidations map. And this is looking in the last hour. Let's look at the 4 hour. So 21 million in Bitcoin been liquidated. This is shorts being liquidated, which is why this is red. Price is going up. This is red because those shorts are being liquidated. We also see 10 million in Ethereum, 4 million in Solana, and a slew of things back and forth across the board here with the other altcoins that are on this map. Now, what does this mean? Well, there's a lot of things to contend with right now. So despite price pushing up, we can't be so blind just to go and try to ride a green candle because it's moving and we don't want to miss it. Throw a 1 in chat right now if you've ever looked at a green candle and you thought, oh man, I have to get in. All of us have felt that. So every single one of you should be throwing a 1 in chat right now. We've all been triggered by emotions. And this is why it's so important to understand the bigger picture and have a strategy in place so that you are aware of your emotions, but you do not act in the charts with your trading on your emotions. You want to be informed by the data, not on the emotionality of the situation and fear and FOMO and hope and greed, all that kind of stuff. So when we come back over here, I'm only going to glaze over some of these topics because I want to get in these charts. So we're going to be breaking down some TA. But this is huge. Evergrande Collapse. This is that huge real estate giant in China. Huge liquidation that is very happening over there in China that could have a snowball effect on the market. And it's not, this is going to be the Chinese economy as well as the global market. We saw the same thing with Lehman Brothers when it collapsed. And this is exponentially larger collapse if this were to happen, and what pressure that may have on the market. Now, we've already seen China halt the short selling on Evergrande, but we also see that they're already starting to have some economic stimulus and some money printing, essentially, which could be a sign that we may be seeing some money printing soon in the U.S. as well. Now, zooming down real quick, Hong Kong judge has ordered that the most indebted property developer to liquidate in a decision experts will believe have a wider snowball effect. So while we're looking at the price right now, this feels so good. It feels so good. It feels so good that for me, it feels more like a trap than actual healthy price action that's just going to continue higher. Because when we look at the bigger picture, this could be a move up to capture liquidity up in this region before price action is sent back down. Now, I want to ask everybody, every single one of you, a question right now. If you're watching right now, if you're tuned in, if you're new here in the last week, let us know you're new. Let us welcome you. We got a wonderful community here. And look down below the video right now. If it does not say subscribed, join us here. We've got a wonderful, positive, empowering, knowledgeable community here. We'd love to have you. So hit that subscribe button down below and hit that like button. Let YouTube know you like this crypto content. So we got 193, almost 200 people in here, only 34 likes. Every one of you hit that like button. It helps crypto go higher. That's right. Now, when we're looking at this, we have all this information, but we also have one of the largest, major real estate developer here liquidating over $300 billion in liabilities, was unable to convince the court it had a sufficient restructuring plan, leading, further indication that there's a likely further collapse. And remember, all these things act as dominoes. You can have a small domino affect world change as it falls. We saw this also happen in the crypto community when Luna collapsed. That cascaded into all the different cascading failures throughout the crypto space last year, ultimately ending in the FTX collapse. Now, this is a major collapse, much larger than we saw on the Luna collapse. And this has, broader economic impact. So when we're looking at a pump right now on Bitcoin, yes, we want to look at Bitcoin as a hedge against all these other things, but currently we still have a mass amount of investors and speculators and institutions around the world that also are still looking at any investment they have, including Bitcoin. And they ask, is this a risk asset or is this a hedge asset? Now, Bitcoin, I think, will ultimately become a hedge against all these things, but it's still trading, and the pressures on it are still very similar to what we see in risk assets. Now, when we scroll down here, Hong Kong listed shares of Evergrande plummeted a fifth before trading was halted. This is this morning. We also see almost $6 trillion has been wiped off China and Hong Kong stocks since the most recent peak 3 years ago. $6 trillion wiped off their market. Currently, overhauled household government corporate debt is equivalent of more than 300% of the annual economic output. Their debt is 300% higher than their output. Remember, China is the second largest world economy. So if we have something out there that really affects our economy in a bad way, this could have broader impact on even crypto. Even though we're seeing a lot of these things as a hedge, they're still not. We have to ask where the fuel is going to come from to push these higher. Now, the question's going to be, at what point does that flippening happen where people say, and it could start happening, especially in China and Hong Kong, maybe that this is the start of it, where they see, they have access to this other thing somewhat, basically outside of their system. Maybe we start seeing this hedge, but we can't bet on it until it actually happens. As we've seen historically so far, Bitcoin is a risk asset, so we need to treat it as such, at least with a caution in that regard. Now, in addition to this, and everybody that's here right now, don't worry, we're going to be diving into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, and many other altcoins, doing some TA here in a moment, talking about this, but we want to see what the bigger picture is about where the pressures are in the market. We were just talking about China. Well, let's talk about the US. Let's talk about the dollar. The Dixie daily chart continues to be bullish, and the weekly currently has a pending buy signal, which means likelihood that the dollar is going to go up. Who cares? I want to talk about Bitcoin. Well, to talk about Bitcoin, you have to talk about where it sits within the grander picture of the world economy. And Bitcoin is still, as we just talked about, still looked at somewhat predominantly. We can see it on the charts. When dollar up, Bitcoin has less likelihood of up. In fact, more likelihood pressure down. So when we're looking at the dollar right here, the reason I'm looking at the dollar is so I have some impact, I'm checking the oil of the pressures that could have support of Bitcoin going higher suppression and likely pushing Bitcoin to the downside. So if we're looking right here, and this is from Jesse Olson, definitely give him a follow if you haven't yet, OLSON. We're seeing that there's a potential for dollar to be going up, which could be one of those things when we're seeing Bitcoin push up, but we're seeing the grander picture of the economy right now saying, oh man, a little bit of caution. It makes me question this for a potential long. Or if you're a smaller time frame trader taking scalps and very, very quick swing trades on smaller time frames, this could be setting up for an opportunity to either take profit on a long that you have or take a short. Now, the majority of people out there, and I would say it's probably 90% of the people watching this channel right now, most of us, we just need to sit on our hands and do nothing. Too many of us get far too involved in trying to trade every move. We're exponentially increasing our stress and also putting all of our capital in the market that we are trading at risk. And the majority of traders don't make it, which is why, one of the reasons why I do this channel and why we do BitLab Academy with all the courses we have, so that if you are to take a swing in this market in terms of not taking longer term position trades where you're riding the full, majority parts of a bullish trend, and you're trying to scalp and swing trade and all this, I can't limit you from doing that, but I want you to do it in an informed manner. Because right now, there's nothing that says that this can't continue going up, but there is a lot that says that if this does go up, it could be setting up for a larger pullback. Because remember, if we zoom out on this, we're just now clearing this high. So this is a good step, but this is still significantly lower than this previous range high. So anywhere in this region, if we reverse and come back down, we are still setting up for a potential test of the level here, these, whether you want to do weekly candle, the candle bodies or the wick, testing somewhere back down here into the $40,000 to $38,000 range. And if we lose that, then lower. Because we still haven't gotten that large pullback pre-halving. So as excited as I am about this, and it does feel good. Doesn't it feel good when the market pumps? It makes conversations with our friends, our family, everything easier. Because then they're not saying, hey, how's crypto doing? It's down, right? You're like, yeah, it's up 9% today, right? But the question is, will it follow through? That's what we want to pay attention to. Is this a healthy move? Because as it stands right now, we have the China issue. We have the dollar potentially pushing up. We also see global liquidity is and has been dipping. But in the same token, remember, I just was talking about China just recently printing a huge amount of money. Is the U.S. on the cusp of that too? We can see if you really look, I can't zoom in on this, unfortunately. But if you see there is a bit of a turn here. It's maybe indicating that there's likely going to be a huge increase in global liquidity, AKA the money printing, which would be fuel for a very strong bullish trend. Would you guys want to see markets ripping right now? Throw a bull emoji in the chat right now if you want to see the markets just rip, because I know I do, but I'm cautious on it. Now, when we zoom down here, crypto analyst says February will be a bullish month for Bitcoin. Now, we don't need to go through the whole article. This is just showing on average if the months were green or red, bullish or bearish. Now, we can just skim over this, and this essentially says data from CoinGlass shows that the only other times, 2015 and 2016, Bitcoin closed the last 4 months of the year in the green. It went on to record a bearish January and a bullish February after that. So last year, Bitcoin closed September, October, November, and December in the green, thanks largely to the frenzy around the Bitcoin Spot ETF. So I'm not going to trade on something like this, and I just bring this up because people see this and they say we're going to have a bullish February because an article said it. Remember, the months also can start changing over time because the halving in which the Bitcoin market cycles are largely, I don't want to say organized, but fall around, right? Post-halving, bullish parabola, large sell-off for about a year and a half, consolidation, and then the slow start to the rise into the next halving. But the halving isn't 4 years, which means that these months might not be as relevant as we think because it's about a 3-year, 10-month market cycle, 210,000 blocks. So there's a potential for some bullishness in February, but we're not going to use this. We're not going to look at what the historical months have showed and just trade on that. Now, when we come over here, this is something that honestly could be something that could be lending into some of the bullishness right now. Hong Kong, next Bitcoin ETF. And this is what I was mentioning before. If the Chinese economy is having these issues and it's being telegraphed to their citizens and they can see it, and certain things are being halted from short selling, limiting their access, limiting how they can navigate a market with the traditional finance world there in China and Hong Kong. And now we see Hong Kong has basically an ETF. You know, they're looking to do an ETF, much like we saw here just January 10th here in the US. Chinese fund behemoth Harvest Hong Kong has officially applied for a spot Bitcoin ETF with the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission. Harvest aims to launch an ETF investing directly in the bellwether crypto, after the Lunar New Year holiday, February 10th. Now, this is something you need to pay attention to as a trader as well. Take the ETF thing out of this with Hong Kong. This is, I think, going to increasingly have a larger effect on what happens in the crypto market, especially as people in Asia and China specifically become aware and interested, and also have growing access to what's going on in the crypto market. February 10th, Lunar New Year. This is basically, we celebrate New Year's Eve on the Western world on December 31st. China celebrates it around this time, February 10th. And there's a huge culture of gift giving and money giving on this holiday. And you can tend to see a spike in certain things that they're interested in as people have capital to then put into markets, investments, gifts, etc. So we need to pay attention to this, especially now that we're seeing this trouble going on in their economy and Evergrande collapsing. But we also have the Lunar New Year coming up right when they're about to launch an ETF, which is going to give them easier access to the crypto market. Harvest application marks a watershed moment in Hong Kong's financial scene, following closely on the heels of the US SEC's greenlighting nearly a dozen spot ETFs. And so are we going to get a multiple group of approvals, or is it just going to be one potentially in February for Hong Kong? Is Hong Kong going to become a little bit of a digital asset hub? Well, this is yet to be seen. Now, we also have this coming up this week, Fed decision, talking about rate hikes, rate cuts, rate pauses, etc. That's the word. The crypto market is bracing itself as the Federal Reserve gears up to announce its first interest rate decision of 2024. The whispers from the CME about a 0.9% chance to keep interest rates unchanged are causing ripples. Yet with the second decision in March, casting a 40% shadow of a rate cut by 25 basis points. So people are wondering when this pivot's going to happen, when they're going to start cutting rates. And this is met with a little bit of skepticism, because having a rate cut doesn't just mean markets explode. Typically, it's because there's something larger going on. And so while it could be met with some positive initial speculation and price action pumping to the upside, the history has shown when the pivots happen, typically pretty strong downtrend on traditional markets can happen. And this goes back to what we just talked about. Will this downtrend on traditional markets still have that suppression weight pulling down on Bitcoin and the crypto markets? Or is it time to break away? This is something we can't know yet, but we have to be aware that that has historically been the trend. At some point, I do think that that's going to break away. I don't think we're there yet where we fully break away. I think we can have, a slight variation on the correlation in the direction of this. Now, a cut, however, could signal economic caution, potentially reducing the attractiveness of risk assets. This is what I was just talking about, like crypto, or conversely, could lead investors to seek higher returns in the crypto market if traditional investments falter. So this is this uncertainty about where this market is. But interestingly, there's growing awareness that this could be the hedge against all this bullshit that's in these traditional markets. Throw one if you agree with that. I think we are on that cusp, and regardless of what happens this year or next year, I'm just happy that you're here. I'm happy that I'm here, and we're ahead of the majority of the world. And it's taken serious courage and balls to be in this market in the last 7 years, and it's increasingly getting to the point where this is the place to be. So let's make sure that we can stay ahead of the curve. Now, a couple last things I want to share about here. What I was just talking about before, when we're looking at this price action, as quick moves up, talking about the potential liquidation and short squeeze and etc. Is there something larger at play here? Coming back over to where we at, right here. The Glassnode co-founder shares his thoughts on a new tweet highlighting that liquidity remains key for the Bitcoin price. Of course, we need fuel for the price to move in either directions, right? He offers his analysis stating that Bitcoin's recent surge above 42.2 provided liquidity for long positions with the neutral impulse. What the hell is he talking about? Well, what they're talking about here is that based on his tweet, he offers his outlook that bullish momentum could trigger a $1 billion in short position liquidations, potentially propelling the market upward. So if we get pushed past a certain threshold, there's enough short liquidations, short positions in the chart that if we push past, these certain levels, could force some close, which could send markets much higher very quickly. This propelling the market upward, the scenario might trigger a short squeeze, which happens when the price of an asset sharply increases as a large number of short sellers are compelled to exit their positions. Now remember, when shorts are compelled to exit their positions, in order to exit those positions, they have to go long. They have to essentially buy their way out of that position. So when you force shorts to close because you get either near their liquidations or past the level that they want to, their stop losses, or even a lot of people that don't have healthy risk management, and you get all the way to their liquidation level, it forces them, boom, triggers an automatic buy in the market, and you get these very quick moves to the upside. But these moves to the upside could be unhealthy still, because it's not somebody saying, I want to buy right now. It's buyers pushing the price up to that level, and then that cliff is met, and all of a sudden, boom, it makes the market move very quickly. But it wasn't just, I don't want to say honest buying. It wasn't healthy buying on that move up. So if we do get that, if we get a much larger move to the upside, watch for a potential pullback and where that potential pullback is. On that move, is it further beyond that 0.618 pullback, or are you retesting the area in which you broke? Are we going to get a Bart Simpson pattern? So that's what we got to ask ourselves. Shout out again to all the members here. Maybe a Band-Aid, Theo Rodriguez, Crimson Caravan, Alex Green, Alexandra G, Jason Rohde, Connor Daigan. We got so many people in here. Big love to everybody that's here on a daily basis. I love you all. Now let's go ahead. We're going to need to get some data because we got to talk about these charts. Now, I just want to point out, regardless of what price is doing right now, we are still in an excellent opportunity range, especially for midterm to long-term investment. When this metric comes all the way down here in this green area, just look at what's happening with where the price is. When this orange metric comes down in here, look at this. When this is way deep in here, look at this. When we're up here, we're near a market cycle top, especially when we get into this red. But look, when we're down here, as high as you feel like we've gone and you're worried, look at where prices resulted in following through after this area pushes out of the zone. And we're still well deep in this area. Now, what is this? This is the reserve risk. And what this is in the BitLab Academy here in this on-chain data analysis course, I think there's 19 or 20 lessons in here. I'll break down very different and specific charts to help you understand what the hell is going on in this market. Now, this is on bitlabacademy.com. This is part of our all access area if you want to sign up for that and get access to that and our premium Discord with calls and whatnot. But when we look at this, essentially what this is this is essentially a risk reward chart. It tells you, what risk are you taking on if you buy when the price is anywhere in this level, when this is very deep down here in the green? It means that you have an asymmetric opportunity with much more potential reward with much less risk, meaning you're in a good spot in the market. Now, what this is, it's the price of Bitcoin divided by the HODL bank, all those coins that have been held very long term. So you're seeing a ratio of strength in the market to weakness in the market based on where the price is and what's happening with those longer term players in their positions. So when those longer term players are taking some profits, this metric goes up. So the HODL bank is going down as price is going up, and you're seeing that this is getting very hot. Now, this one was a bit truncated because we had the Chinese mining ban right here, which kind of truncated this, but we do have a bit of a trend line here. I would argue that on this cycle, there's a likelihood that we break through this previous high and test somewhere up near this red region. We could talk about that later when prices rip into the upside. Now, when we come over here and look, we've been talking about this for a minute. Now we're about to get into the TA section. So everybody strap on your boots, take a sip of water, let's get this going. But we're looking, this is that area we've been watching right here, this short-term holder cost basis. It's now up about 38.5 and well above where this previous range high was, right? But look at this, the 21-week moving average is also now well above this. And the 200-day moving average is also well above this. So if we do get any big dip, I'm watching for something to bounce maybe below this short-term holder cost basis and give us a great opportunity if we break back down. But I want you to notice, this is not, this hasn't reprinted for today. But if we look at this, let's go ahead and bring it back up. If we look at this, this level, as we've pushed up in here, we're testing within this range. And what this means is when we're looking at this, let's zoom out. Let's turn off all the different lines and drawings. And I just want you to see when this pushes down and pushes back up into this, this is pushing into the meat of the body of all of this chop that's in here. We have not yet done anything that ultimately shows a trend reversal. And the trend I'm talking about here, this is on the daily. If I get down to the 1 hour, we have this downtrend. Now you could argue that I have to turn the lines back on. You could argue that we did break out of this right here on this smaller time frame trend. But when you're looking just, you know, the basic structures of a trend, we have a high, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Now we're pushing up here and we're getting underway of potentially changing the narrative, but it's not yet fully established. Because now we have a higher low and we have a slightly higher high from here. And now we are testing in this region right here. If we break out of this, I think our target's going to be somewhere up here in the 45.6 to 46.3 sort of region. And we'll have to see what happens if we're able to follow through from there. Because as it stands right now, all we've done, if we really zoom out, let's go to the 3-day. I just want to point something out. All we've done, there we go. All we've done right now is, let's go ahead and turn off all the lines. We have this beautiful uptrend here on the 3-day. Currently, we're still kind of navigating what's going to happen in this region. But until we come back up in here with authority, with volume, with positive money flow, especially on the daily and the 12-hour at minimum, showing that there's follow through coming into this area, anything up into this range is very likely could be a trap. Because when we look historically at Bitcoin, we do get fairly large pullbacks before the halving, or at least through the halving. And you see we've had this 20%, 20%, 20%. All three of these drops were about 20%. And where we're at right now, this drop that we just had would mark, look at that, 20%. So is this time different? Very well could be. But more likely than not, it's not different. I'm still looking at a target somewhere down in this region, but we need to be careful because there's a lot of new data coming out about slowing the GBTC outflows are slowing. We see that BlackRock, I think, has already about 50,000 Bitcoin that they've accumulated from all this interest they've seen in their ETFs. But not only do we want to see GBTC outflows slowing, we also don't really want to see a huge drop in the inflows and the interest in these other ETFs. So as we're sitting right now, this is feeling very good. Feeling very good. But look at this. We're already seeing it. Came right up into the zone. Look at this wick. If we come down to the 24-minute, coming up, I didn't redraw this. This happened while we were on air. This pushed up into the zone, found resistance. I mean, this couldn't be more, exactly on the line. Yes, we had a wick go by it, but look at these candle bodies right on the line and rejecting down. And this line that we're looking at, this line is a critical line. It's this line right here. Remember, we talked about this. Rejections all the way through. Support, support, rejection. All this rejection through here. Support, 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 support. It's literally like a battle between the bulls and the bears narrative saying we do have the juice to go higher. As it stands right now, it's getting a little bit suppressed. So let's look at what this looks like with some of our indicators, some of our data points, because we don't trade on price. We trade on the data that is coupled with that price to know if the price is trying to fake you out or if the data says, no, this is strong, this is going to push higher. As it stands right now, let's look at this. So we have some choppiness. This is on the 1 hour. Blue is a positive money flow, meaning money coming into the market. But this flipped negative right here, and it's kind of choppy right here. It was purple, which is negative money flow, but then gray, which means it's a little stagnant. It's kind of hasn't made a decision. And we see the RSI did push up into here and is angled down, but the stochastics, look at this. As this was pushing up, stochastics did not follow through. This orange line has just been trickling to the downside. A little concerning that something a little concerning there. So we do see a lot of volume into this move, but then now a huge decrease in volume. Now, why is this? Because there's other people out there in the market other than you. There's other people that are much more skilled. There's algorithms, there's institutions, there's market makers, there's there's so many different millions of people out there trading. And we're not the only ones that see this trend line. Even if you didn't draw it all the way back to the back, maybe you only drew it right here with this bounce and 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 this bounce. And I mean, the line is clear. And so it makes sense that on this push to the upside, a lot of people still considering a likely pullback pre-halving. So when price action makes this move, and this is not a small move, this move comes all the way up. This is, 12%, 12, 13% move. Still haven't gotten that larger than 20% pullback. And as this moves up, it goes, ooh, so maybe I should take a little profits to hedge myself. Now, where would this be representative of this larger move? Well, you see this gray line coming across the screen and then this green line. Well, what could that be? This is this Fibonacci and of that move and the golden pocket. Look, we came right down to the golden pocket, bounced up to the 382. The 382, and we sliced a little bit through it, but it's representative right about confluently with where this larger trend line was. So this gave us an area of interest when this did bounce and is pushing up, especially when it found support on this. We have a point of confluence, a zone, and right now on these two candles, we are perfectly in the zone. Now, if we get down to the 15-minute, let's see what it looks like. So yeah, it looks like we're getting somewhat rejected currently at this. We're going to want to see, look at this on the 15-minute chart, a lot of bearishness on the BitLab trading stack. By the way, these indicators that I use is at bitlabacademy.com. And look at this, man. I didn't even see this earlier. Bearish, a little bit of hesitation here, stopping volume, but then we got another explosion to the high side, stopping volume, yellow candle, and a bearish signal right at this level as stochastics are angled to the downside, as the RSI angles to the downside, and we still have negative money flow, and we have all these bearish signals saying a little bit of caution at this zone. So we're going to want to watch where this pulls back to. So looking at this chart, if we come on this move, option F, Fibonacci, you can either do that or you can come over here on the left toolbar, come 1, 2, third one down, come over here to Fib retracement. And we're drawing this and we see the golden pocket is all the way down here. Go ahead and do this again. Option F from the bottom all the way up to the top. Look at this. This golden pocket sits exactly where these two previous range highs were. And this green box that's right here, which is part of the BitLab volume, it prints this order block where a lot of liquidity interest came in before, which means when price potentially gets sucked back down to this level, it's a little bit of support that we could see here. But you also notice that this is, look at this. The weekly VWAP is right here in the middle of this golden pocket, as well as the green trend signal here. It was red, and then it flipped green right here. And we have a bit of a support zone right in this zone. So if we fall all the way through this, it's going to be a little critical that we hold this region right here at 42,350, 42,370, because we have the order blocks here. We have the weekly VWAP here. We also have the golden pocket here, as well as these moving averages on the BitLab BitLab intelligence. All these indicators right here showing that if we lose this level, we're more likely going to test back down into this, bounce up, and then potentially have that follow through to the downside. Now, what does it look like on Ethereum? Ethereum's got that move to the upside. Now, what does it look like on the daily? So we had a falling out here. Look at this, bam, all the way down to where these previous lows were. Find support, pushing up, and we're getting, look at this, a little bit of hesitation here. We just broke through the weekly VWAP, but we're getting rejected currently at this 20 moving average EMA ribbon. If we zoom in on this, you can see it a little bit more clearly. See, there's a bit of an EMA ribbon here on the BitLab intelligence. It's having a little hesitation here. So what does this look like on the smaller time frame? So now look where the price is. Let's look left. Previous range high, previous range low right here. So this is where we're struggling currently. We also had this high volume area that which draws this line. You see this line right here? This line, these lines are representative of the wick high of where the high volume into stopping volume is. And it gives you a potential area for a likely either take profit or resistance level when price comes back up into it. And what happens? Push right up into it. And we're getting a little bit of a hesitation right now. We also have the money flow is not flip positive here. So I'd be a little hesitant here for this potentially to come back down and test. If we cannot hold above 2250, which is not only below this range high, but also it's this weekly VWAP right here, which automatically prints on this indicator. If we lose this, then I do think we're coming down to test down back into the 2100, 2180, 2180 range. And if we lose that, then we get that larger move to the downside, which this move would have indicated would have been down here in the 1900s. So we got to be cautious here. Just because we got a pump doesn't mean it's up and away. Because there's still a lot on the burner, on the consideration about everything going on in the broader world economy, as well as the strength of the dollar, as well as what these flows are going to be with the Bitcoin ETFs, and also the pressure about what's going to happen with the Coinbase SEC lawsuit. So this very well could be setting up to be exit liquidity for somebody else to take advantage of this if it's a trap for it to move back down. Now, if we do push up, we have this line right here, interestingly, where look at this. I didn't even notice this before. So we have this rejection point. We have this boom, rejection, and look at where price pushed to. Confluence of data, diagonal trend line from before. This previous range low, look at this. It's like a perfect cross section of this range low, this range high, and right where this diagonal trend line came from. And remember, we marked this back. This goes all the way back to January 12th. This is a 1 hour chart. And we're finding a little rejection here, or not a rejection, a hesitation. We're going to want to see here on a rejection how far down this comes before it bounces or if it just falls through. Conversely, we want to see if this breaks out. I would guess that it would probably break out to something like this. If it does break out to the upside, break out somewhere up in this, God damn it, break out somewhere in this region, come back and find support somewhere in here, and then either break up or lose this and come back down. This is what we want to watch for right now, because there's some conflicting signals on these charts about this trying to follow through. This doesn't look like something that it's trying to have buying pressure really push it to the next level. Now we come over here at Avalanche. This looks a little bit more bullish because we have this downtrend here. This is a 4 hour chart. We broke out of this, pushed up, came back down, and we have this sort of kind of a cup and handle. And if this were the case, if this was a cup and handle, remember, meaning we have this formation of price action doing this, and then a little bit of a handle, and that this is a very cup and handle. If it is, some would say it's not really an inverted head and shoulders, but there's some structure here that suggests impact to the downside that failed. Another attempt that failed miserably from the bears currently. And if this is a case, then this would potentially have a target. And I'm not seeing this happen right now. This would have a target up here at 46, which would be a pretty significant move to the upside. That's like a 30% move or so. Yeah, so it's 31%. RH Max says, hi, Kelly, have you been following the massive green candles on Pulse Chain for the past couple of weeks? No, I have not. I don't show any interest whatsoever in Pulse Chain, but I can look at that for you. I appreciate the super chat. And this is no hate on anybody that likes Pulse Chain. I have a limited amount of time that I can really figure out, not only doing all these TA for everybody on here, but also my own investments and stuff. Dan, I will post it later tonight. I need to see what time my wife, oh, sorry about that. So I don't see this target currently coming to fruition. Now, this target comes all the way about where this chop is over here. This is on Avalanche. But we also have this level here. We also have this level right here. Yeah, look at this. So this high, look, support, this. So if we do push up, I'd be watching like a hawk if this does push up, if it can break through this region or if it consolidates and then breaks down. Because this does suggest that it kind of wants to push higher. But I'd still be a little bit hesitant right now but be prepared. Now, if we break this level here, this $40 level, I think that this likely can push up to this level, pull back, and have a bit of a continuation. So let's be a little bit patient here. Solana, same thing. Very, very similar to what we just saw in Avalanche. Breakdown, break of this chart, break of this trend line, come down, retest, continuation to the upside. But we're sitting right now at where this previous high range was. We want to see if we can break through this, break through that, come back and test this, and then continuation. Or if we get a little bit of chop here and it starts to roll over and sets up for lower. What's a couple other things that we can look at here? Let's see. What's Matic doing? Or this is, I look at Cardano because I have this right here. I want to look at this on this chart. There we go. Woo, look at that move. This is on the 1 hour. That's a nice little move on a 2 or 3 candles. But look at where we're at. Put things in context. Don't look at this and go, oh, we're going up, up, and away. Look at this and go, okay, man, this is pumping. We got some volume. Great. First thing you need to do is go, okay, this feels good. Now, what do you need to do? Go on your mouse and scroll back so you can see where is this in relationship to previous price action. Zoom out. As this looks, we did break out of this trend line, came down, retested this, pushed up, little M formation, kind of choppiness, but now W formation here, and it broke out of this to the upside, but we have not yet cleared anything in this range here, which is this previous range high. So we're really watching this area right there, and I would kind of do it like this. We're really watching that area right there. Now, why that area? We have the range high, and if we really zoom in on this, we see I basically drew a trend line here where essentially this was bouncing. This kind of had some support. So we have this sort of chop range in here that is going to be potentially a barrier. And it's also going to be a telling factor of what's going to happen with Cardano over the next month or so if this does push up in this and break through. As it stands right now, high volume, but before we even got into this range, look at how much so far we have. This is about half the candle. So let's go down to the 15 minutes. We're seeing a decrease in volume here. As it stands right now, we have a little bit of a bull flag. So there is a potential we are going to push higher. But I'm watching the next step right above us, 51.20, 51.20 cents, right? If we're able to take this out, then I'd be a little bit more convinced we're going to be moving higher. But as it stands right now, I'm a little bit hesitant. This looks like a bull flag, but we also have the stochastics angle down. This is starting to roll over, and the money flow is still negative. But things are acting a little bit irrational right now. So I'm not going to, and I hope you don't either. I don't bank every trade I make on the TA I'm doing. I'm saying, well, the TA is suggesting that the candles themselves suggest that there could be a move to the upside. But the data looks a little conflicted. So I'm okay with it doing either thing. So if we get down here, let's go on the 5 minute. So this is looking like it's about to try and make the move. So if this is the case, then we come right here, option T, get a bit of a trend line, and we say, boom, the target, look at where it goes, right in the middle of this zone. And on the 5 minute, look, this has come down to reset. We do have positive money flow now. So maybe we do get a move into this region, the 51, basically just shy of 52 cents. At this area, I'd be really watching what's going on and if strength is coming in. Now, what's going on with Bitcoin right now is we're talking about all this. So we're getting a little bit of a bounce. A little bit of a bounce right here on this line, but currently lower highs. So we're going to want to watch what plays out here with this. Now, when we come back over to, there's something else I wanted to show you. Phantom. Very similar. Look at this, kind of an inverted head and shoulders. So if this is the case, and it's a little bit ugly because we don't get the full left shoulder here, we can just kind of estimate. If this is the case, then this would say, let's go right here. Let's go option H. Now that draws a line across the whole screen, I can zoom left. Okay, so we had some support, a little bit of choppiness in here, support, and this is exactly where the target is. Are we going to get that move to the upside? Stochastics came down. Boom, they're angled up. RSI's angled up. The money flow is looking like it's trying to flip positive on the 4 hour. Maybe it already did on the 1 hour. On the 1 hour, it did, but it flipped back negative money flow. So there's some uncertainty right now into what is happening. So if we come right here, option J, look at this, previous low range. If we drag this over, rejection, this is resistance, support, 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 a little bit of resistant choppiness right in here. And we are fighting our way to break through this range and this next high here. If we could take out 40 cents, I would say. If we could take out 40 cents, I think that we are going to be making a bit of a move higher. As it stands right now, things are feeling like we got the move, and everybody's doing exactly what I'm doing. They're saying, but is this healthy? So there's a little bit of profit taking. There's a little bit of, and this is what we need to do. We need to be smart about what we're doing in this market. ICP. So coming over here, option J, all I'm doing, I'm looking over here about where the interest is, where I'm seeing the area of interest. Bounce, 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 a little bit of choppy in here, a little bit of support, rejection. And look at where we're at right now. Price action pushed up into exactly where this line is. We have a rejection here, support here, and this is the area. If we're able to take this out, this 1257, 1260 sort of range, we're really watching for a break of this zone right here, which is basically $13. We can take out $13, and I think we're going to be making a bit more of a run up towards 14 and then potentially higher. But as it stands, remember, things feel good right now. Markets are pumping. What have you? I want to see everybody in this chat right now. We got 238 people. Every single one of you, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, show some love. I want to know everybody in the chat right now. Roll call. What's the last thing you bought? What's the last thing you sold? And if you haven't done anything, how long have you been holding? I'm curious to see what you guys are saying. And do you think? Write this down in the comments down below as well if you're not watching this live. Make sure. Do you think this is a pump? If this pump is a trap, or do you think that we're going to start seeing some follow through? I'm very curious what you're all saying. Now, again, if you guys haven't yet, if you're interested in the indicators we use on this, on this channel and within the BitLab community, we have the BitLab trend fuel down here, giving you the money flow, the momentum, the RSI, the stochastics, and all this whole dashboard that tells you very quickly, are you loading up some bullish signals or bearish? And of course, we have the BitLab intelligence here with all the different signals that we have here with the moving averages, dynamic support and resistance zones, high volume candles, stopping volume. And then, of course, one of my favorites out there of anywhere is the BitLab volume, which is we get the volume ranges here. We also have the order blocks auto print on the chart. And it really just helps. If you're interested in learning about this market a little deeper, check out bitlabacademy.com. Enroll right here. We got a big deal going on right now, too. I'm not sharing it far and wide, only for insiders. Email me, help@bitlabacademy.com. If you want a 30-day free trial to the BitLab Discord. And there's also an upsell on that if you do want it, which is the cheapest package you can get for everything we have by a significant amount. But shoot me an email. You can learn about all this stuff. If you do want to just get the indicators, come right here to indicators, get the indicators. But again, get in the Discord. Corduroy had a great update here in the VIP charts area, talking about some support levels and everything we're looking at. And of course, the spots, trades, and scalps. And there's been a lot of stuff that's being shared in here on a regular basis. I just started this Kelly Alpha channel in here as well, where I'm going to be breaking down a lot more on-chain, a lot more charts, a lot more the trades I'm taking. And of course, JJ Calls breaking down some really great stuff in here with liquidation levels, different trading strategies. And we got some more stuff coming up in the classroom area here and the member stream area here this week. So get involved in that private Discord. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Again, if you want that special super secret discount, email me, help@bitlabacademy.com. I love you guys. Let's get involved in the Discord. Let's get involved in the communities in a positive way. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Happy Monday. Let's get it. And I see, Sawtooth Hiker. I didn't see it. Sawtooth Hiker did 5 gifted memberships. Big love to all the new members. Before we go, all you members that are here, share, blast some of those emojis out. I want to see what emojis you're feeling like today, how you're feeling, what you're doing. Show everybody else with the emojis that we got there. And again, welcome to all the new members. And thank you for all the old members that are here on a daily basis. And thank you, everybody. If you're new here, again, my name's Kelly Kellum. Welcome to the BitLab Academy community. It's all about positivity, tools, resources, helping you not step in the potholes that I did, helping you not lose money I did early on, helping you shortcut your way towards having a strategy that works. That's what this is all about. I love you guys. And that's enough goodbyes because I got to go. Adios. But there's one more thing I forgot to share with you. Make sure you jump in and head over to, where's my mouse? Head over to decrypted.tax /hit. get your taxes set up so you have all your tax stuff in order before the deadline, so you can have, if you have money coming back, you can put it back in the market. But it's also the smartest thing you can do is make sure that you're following the tax law around crypto, because if I had to guess, I would guess that the Elizabeth Warrens and those types of people out there are probably going to be coming after people that aren't paying their crypto taxes, so they can use it as a talking point that help get your taxes done. Check out Decrypted.tax, our trusted tax partner. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Adios, muchachos. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always burning in. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for being here. Thank you for me. Hit that like button, sucker.